my life back.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Takers. And we have a rare species today, a passing California bar taker. Welcome, Cinthia. Hey, how are you?
Good, I'm good.
So what our audience doesn't know is that you're recording this at 6 a.m. And the reason for that is because this is the quiet time in your house?
Yes, I have two kids and they are sleeping right now, so this is when it's quiet.
Good. And how old are your kids?
My daughter just turned 9 and my son is 6.
Okay. So do they know what mom just did?
They know mom took a big test. They don't really know what it was for or what it means, but they know mom took a big test.
And they were pretty excited when mom passed the big test, huh?
Yes, they were here and they watched me check online for my results, and they were really excited because I got really excited. But I don't think they still understand what it means.
Not yet, but they'll watch this interview someday and maybe they'll know more about it. They also know that mom didn't give up, right? Because this wasn't your first time taking the test.
Right. This was my second time. So I took the first time right out of law school. I took it in July, and I used a different program, and I didn't pass. And then, but I did pass on my second time.
Okay. And for those in our audience that don't know, the California bar pass rate in February of 2019 was 31% overall. For repeat takers, it was under 20%, might have even been like 15%. So you really, when I say you are a rarity, you really are. So let's circle back and kind of let people in on your story. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to be in a position to go to law school and take the bar exam?
So we are actually originally from Reno, Nevada, and we moved out here to California for my husband's job, and my position had actually closed down. I worked for the county, and they outsourced us due to funding at the time. And so we said, okay, let's go to law school. You've been a paralegal for so many years. And so I signed up for a non-ABA night school because I still had to work. I still had to be a mom. So I did 4 years in a non-ABA night school.
And of course, that makes it even more challenging because when you look at the statistics, the non-ABA accredited schools have a very low pass rate, right? And they told you that, I assume, somewhere along the way.
Well, the school's always going to promote itself. So they boasted that they had actually a pretty good success rate. And I believe when I took it in July, non-ABA pass rate was 12%.
Yeah.
Even for first-time takers.
Yeah. And that's become the increasing reality is that this category of schools and their graduates are really struggling to get through the bar exam. So you're at a disadvantage going in. You were working during the day and studying at home and at night, I assume, right? For law school. And so what did it feel like when you get out of law school and you're ready to take the bar exam for the first time? You know these numbers, you know that it's a tough exam. Even if you've come out of, an ABA accredited law school, it's still a tough exam in California. It's the highest pass cut score in the country. What did that feel like to you? Was it intimidating?
I didn't think about it. I didn't look at the numbers. I didn't worry about it. I thought, okay, I'm going to go in and try my hardest. This is the next step. This is what you do, and you keep going. That's all I thought. I didn't stop and really look at the numbers until after I got my results. And then I'm starting to look at these horrible numbers, and things really started sinking in then.
Okay. And how did you find Celebration Bar Review? Or maybe even why did you decide you wanted to make a change?
So while I was studying for the July bar exam, I went on YouTube looking for motivational because it gets pretty daunting when you're in the middle of it and studying, and this is your whole life. And so you start going online for, past ideas, past anything to do with passing the bar, and yours popped up. And so I started looking into it and really wish I could have signed up, but I was so close to taking the exam. I don't think it would have been helpful at that time.
Right. And so one of the things about California that makes it so difficult is that they don't give their results out until very late. In fact, the last state in the country, basically, to give out results. So when you get your results from the July exam, in some states, they come out middle of September, but in California, you get those July results in November, basically, right? So
a week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. So now you got to do a quick turnaround to get ready for the February bar exam. What was your game plan going into the February 2019 exam in terms of work and study?
So initially, I decided to just jump right in. So I got my results Friday night. By Sunday, I had already signed up for the next, and I discussed it with my husband, and he was like, just sign up, just go ahead and do it. And I had mentioned your program and how I thought it was better or different, or, not like the rest. And I thought it would be more helpful. So he's like, just sign up for both, just go in and start over. And I was still working full time, trying to figure out how much time I could take off, because I took off 2 months the first time. And then I have to go back to my employer and say, hi, I need more time. So that turned into a little bit of a struggle. And, and I did this during December, during Christmas, trying to figure all this out. And I came to a realization that I can't do it. I can't do all three and pass the California bar. I just can't. I can't work. I can't be a mom. I can't study and give it the attention that it needs. So I quit my job by the end of December and focused 100% on the bar.
Okay. So you're pretty dedicated at that point. To quit a job and to say, I'm just going to go all in. How many hours a week would you say you were studying after you quit your job?
So what I did is I thought, okay, come January, I'll have 2 months. I'll start fresh. I did it like a job. I studied from 8 to 5. I took an hour break at lunch because I pick up my kids. And so at lunch, I would pick up my son. We'd have lunch together. And then I would take the evenings off. So I took it, I dedicated it like a job, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, every day.
That's great. I think that when you're in that position, and not everyone's going to be in the position to study full time, but if you're in that position, that is a really good way to do it, as compared to the person that says, I'm going to study full time, and then they study 14 or 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and grind themselves down. Did you find it helped you to have some balance between family and study during that period?
Absolutely. It made all the difference, because when I was trying to do it while working and studying in the evenings and studying on weekends and trying to find time to study, for one, it wasn't, I wasn't giving it all my focus that I could. So I wasn't retaining anything. And then I was getting very short. I was getting short with everybody, and it wasn't fair to anybody, because this was me and, my obstacle. And so that's where I decided, no, something's got to give.
Yeah. And, I think sometimes people lose sight of the fact that their families are going through this process with them, except that the family doesn't get to go in and take the test. So they're literally the passengers, on the crazy Uber drive. And it can be very challenging to go through that. And so I think having that balance that you're talking about really is a big deal. The other part of it that strikes me as interesting is, in a very real sense, you're modeling for your children what it means to do something important and to take on a big task and to be persistent in the face of that. Do you think that had, certainly on the older one, did it have a little bit of an impact in terms of, hey, here's something that's going on with mom?
The big thing that we definitely emphasize in my house is that, you try your hardest, you do your best, and if it doesn't work out, it's okay, and you try again. And I was able to actually model that, as much as I didn't like it, but I did get to model that and show them, look, mommy didn't do good the first time. We got up, we tried again, and we never gave up.
Yeah, I think that's a huge life lesson. I suspect as your kids get older and they begin to understand a little bit more about what was involved, they're going to have mad respect for you for doing this. But also to understand in their own lives, I mean, tests are not something to be afraid of, and you can overcome, right? I mean, it's really a weird world. I mean, the 9-year-old is probably what, a third or a fourth grader? Is that right?
Yeah, third grade. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they take tests in third grade, so it's not like they don't understand what it means to take a test. And so seeing mommy go through that, I think, is probably pretty interesting. I remember studying for the bar. My kids would sit at the table with me, and we all do homework together. So there you go, kind of a strange world. Well, as you got prepared, and you were going through, what was different about our course from what you had done before? What stood out in your mind?
A lot of things, and this is something that I'm trying to emphasize with all my colleagues that are, signing up for July or, gearing up for July, is the one biggest thing that I noticed with Celebration was the positivity, the reinforcement, and you guys being there for us. So every Friday there was the conference call. I would jump in, and even if I didn't have a question, I would listen in, and just knowing that, should I need help, should I need something, it was there. And then I know in the last month or so, I believe, I would wake up to an email every morning. Have a great day. Focus on this. Don't, you can do this. You can overcome this. Don't think about the past, So it was very motivational and very inspiring. And it was, it put everything in a positive light, which I didn't realize how much of a difference it made until after the fact. When you're going in through it, you're in the middle of it. Your focus is 100% like study, study, study. But just like those little, every once in a while, like, hey, you're doing great, you're going to do good. And then there's the coaching calls. I would jump in on Saturdays, and it was, how was your week? How's it going? And, just to have that camaraderie between everybody in the same thing, and having the support, I think was huge.
Oh, that's great. Now, you selected our basic coaching plan, so you weren't getting one-on-one individual coaching, but as you've described, there's the group coaching, there's the weekly question and answer webinar, there were the emails. So you didn't feel isolated, I presume, in that process.
No, I didn't. And for financial reasons, I couldn't do, the one-on-one. And so I did just the basic, but I still found like the support was still there. Like I said, jumping in on Fridays, jumping in on a group coaching call, the support was still there. I could always email you if I had a question, and you would respond. And so I didn't feel isolated in that sense.
Well, that's great. That's our goal. And a lot of times people ask me, can I pass using the basic course? And the answer, of course, is yes, you can. And lots of people do. And you're a great example of that. As you got ready and you were going back to take the exam the second time, what's the feeling like for you as you go in to take the exam now this second time?
One thing, and my friends pointed this out to me the day of the exam, they said, how are you so positive? How are you so happy? How, because the looks on everybody's face, they're distraught, they're exhausted, they're tired, they're, they look like they've been hit by a train, and they're looking at me like, how are you so positive? And I just, I went into it with a much more positive attitude that yes, this can be done. I've been doing the work. I've been doing the MBEs. I've listened to what Jackson said, and, I felt confident going in and positive more than anything. I'm going to go with it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the mindset for the exam is a big deal. And you see the people around you, as you say, who look like they've been hit by a train or they're refugees from the haunted mansion. And it's a very unnerving kind of situation. And so if you can kind of stay in your lane and stay focused, it makes it a lot more effective. And I think, one of the things for people who are retaking the exam is that you carry a certain burden with you that first-time takers don't have, which is this sense of, I didn't succeed first time, and now what's going to happen? And so being able to brush that off and go in and do your work is a big deal, isn't it?
Yes, and to be honest, I carried that burden right up till almost to the end. I remember in one of my final coaching calls, um, she goes around and asks everybody okay, what's going on, and I said, I'm scared to fail again. I'm scared to fail. It's very real. Once you failed, it's very real. So you're like, okay, this can happen, and it can happen again. And so she, what she told me was, you have to move past it. You have to let it go. Yes, it happened, but you have to look forward at the possibility that it's not going to happen again, that you have the opportunity, you have the chance, and you can't carry that with you. And that was her biggest, and it was so inspiring that I think it really helped. It was what I really needed in that moment.
Yeah, one of the things about our group coaching calls is that they're all done by not only staff members of ours, but they're all former students, and they're all students who did not pass the exam the first time they took it. So they have all been in that position. So they're not just spouting, platitudes. I mean, they have literally been in your shoes. And we've got a great staff of mentors for that. And so it's nice to hear that resonated, but they're very talented people. It sounds great. You get in, you're taking the exam. And of course, in California, in the 2-day test now, you've got 5 essays and 1 performance test, and then you've got the full day of the MBE. It's a long 2 days, isn't it?
It is. It is. By the second day, after taking 5 essays and a PT, you're exhausted. And I remember the first time coming home, and I laid on the couch and I fell asleep. I was done. I was completely exhausted because you're in a go mode for so many hours. And then I thought, I have to get up and do this again tomorrow. And I was exhausted the first time. The second time, I wasn't. And I think it has a lot to do with your mindset and how you're going into it. And I wasn't exhausted. I wasn't as tired. I remember talking to my friend on the phone, and she goes, "You don't sound like you just took a huge exam. You sound okay." And I'm like, "I am okay. I think I did fine." And so it was night and day, the difference from the first time to the second time of how I felt, even going into the bar, out the day in between, and even coming out on the second day.
Yeah, I think so too. It feels like when you're going through this process that your life is on hold, right? That sort of everything stops. And
Absolutely.
So one of the things we like to do, and I don't want you to wake up the family, but one of the things we like to do is to give you an opportunity to kind of say to the universe, I have my life back. And I would love it. We'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. And you can say it as soft or loud as you want, but I would love to have you just tell the universe that you have your life back. Are you willing to do that?
Okay.
All right. So here we go. I'm going to count us down. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
I have my life back.
Perfect. Yay. Feels kind of good, doesn't it? It's like, okay, I got this.
Yeah. And I was telling my friend the other day, I said, I feel like we're on hold. We're on hold. And it just now is, I think, sinking in that, I get to move on.
Yeah. And what does the future look like for you now that you're becoming a member of the California Bar?
I am getting sworn in on Monday, June 3rd, because if you get sworn in May, you pay a full year's dues. If you get sworn in June, you only pay half. So I'm getting sworn in June 3rd, the first day available. And I got a nice offer from this nice practice that I found while I was waiting for my results. They were willing to take a chance on me and wait for, see what happened. And so they hired me knowing I could possibly only be a 2-monther, and then offered me a full-time position. So I'm going to stay there.
Well, congratulations. That's great news, isn't it?
Yes, thank you. It's a huge relief.
Yeah. The upside of a really low pass rate is that there is a very small number of new attorneys coming into the state every year. So and for a state as big as California to only add 1,000 or so new attorneys is pretty remarkable. So it's really extraordinary. I know that you have recommended our course to some of your friends, and I appreciate that a great deal. But I'm curious as to what you would say to our audience, many of whom might be considering what to do about a bar review and thinking about it. Maybe they've taken and failed the California bar, as so many people did. What recommendations or suggestions would you have for them?
You know, I can't stress this enough, and I can't emphasize it enough. And I'm walking around preaching it every single day to everybody I encounter. And because I'm a pastor, everybody's like, well, what did you do? And I go, I did something different. Do something different. The other programs and what you're doing at home by yourself isn't working. It didn't work for me. You know, do something different. And it's not always taken, you know, as you would expect and hopefully, but, you know, that's my biggest push is you need to do something different. The way that you would take the exam in the past and with all the changes California has made, they've made substantial changes. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. One of the more frustrating things I see are people that continue to fail the exams all across the country, but certainly in California, and they just keep doing the same thing. They keep running into the same brick wall. And at some point, you just get worn out and you have to say, you got to try something different. And so I'm glad that you found us when you did. I'm delighted that you had the success that you did. I'm sure your school is proud of you. Your family's proud of you. We're certainly proud of you. And I think that when people recognize the simplicity of just responding to what the examiners are looking for instead of trying to overwhelm them with law school stuff, it starts to come into focus, doesn't it, that this is doable?
Yes. Yes. A lot of people, you know, reached out to me and said, okay, well, what did you do? You know, because I think from my school, somewhere between 30 and 40 people retook it from past years and from the year that I graduated, and 10 passed.
Yeah.
8 from my class and 2 from a previous year. And so a lot of people that are gearing up are like, well, what did you do? And what did you do? And I'm like, okay, well, you know, you have to start off with doing something different. And, you know, I keep recommending your program. And, you know, now the proof is once you see it. So now that they see me and they're like, oh, you passed. Okay. So they're more open to hearing what I have to say.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. We appreciate that, and we look forward to helping your classmates and others. I know that a lot of people watching and listening today are going to be inspired by your story and excited about it. And really, when you consider how low the pass rates are and how difficult the exam is in California, it is tough for everybody. It's super tough for repeat takers, and you did all of that. And I think you deserve just the biggest, accolades and attaboys and attagirls that we can give you. So I'm thrilled. And I know that you have been, supportive of our students and part of that group coaching environment. And so we really want to thank you for that and appreciate your continued confidence in us. And thank you so much for getting up at this god-awful hour of the morning to talk to me. And she's hardly taken a sip of her coffee, folks, while we did this. So it's very impressive. So Cinthia, thanks again. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your family. Please give them our best. And we look forward to seeing and hearing great things from you as you go forward in your legal career.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate you guys being there. While you know what you feel is kind of your lowest point, and getting through the muddied waters. It was always really great to have that support system there.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much. And to our audience, thank you for being with us. I hope you were as inspired by this as I was, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.